There we go. So today's topic that we're doing is adding and subtracting mixed numbers. If you want to put that in your index or your glossary, it's add and subtract mixed numbers. And a lot of you try to do this and get it wrong. Really, no fault of your own. It's just that we have to, when it gets to be two numbers that are very close but different signs, it gets very confusing when they're mixed numbers. So I'm going to skip number one here because that is not adding two mixed numbers together. I'm actually going to go all the way down to number three, and we're going to add those two mixed numbers together. So when adding mixed numbers, it's actually a little bit easier because what we want to do is vertical. So we are always going to write it vertically first. So this was 3 3/5, and we're writing the 3 7/8 right under it. That's called vertical. So we are not writing it sideways anymore. We're rewriting these, even though they're written, rewriting these vertically. Now we need to take these fractions and turn them into a common denominator. So when I start counting by eights, it is 8, 16, 24, and I keep going until I find something that when I count by fives, it also. Sometimes you just multiply the 5 times the 8 to get 40, but sometimes you can get something smaller than that. In this case, you can't. So we want to get to 40 here. So here it's 5 times 8 is 40. So I multiply by a giant 1 to get 24 40ths. Here I'm multiplying by 5 over 5 for my giant 1. If I multiply by 1, it doesn't change anything. So 5 over 5 is the same as a giant 1. So now that's 40ths and it's 35. And that's also at 3. So now all of that goes away. And now all I'm doing is just that now, right? I'm just looking at that. So again, I look for that common denominator of the 5 and 8. 5 times 8 is 40. That is a common denominator. It might not be the smallest, but in this case it is. And I multiply the top by the same number. So I don't need to change every one of these into an improper fraction. So now here I am. 24 minus 35. Uh-oh. I cannot do, oh, I'm adding, sorry. So I'm going to add 24 plus 35. I do not add the denominators. I just rewrite the denominator as 40. And 24 plus 35 is 59. And I'm going to come back to that in a second. 3 plus 3 is 6. So far, so good? Now, I have an improper fraction here. It's top heavy, so I got to change this 59. So what I'm going to do is say I have this is equal to 140 over 40 plus 19 40ths left over. I add that to the 6 to get 7 and 19 40ths. I should give you guys more space, I think, on these, huh? That is when we add. It's even more important when we subtract. Okay? So we're going to do a subtraction one next. Does anybody need time to finish up this one? Yes. That's not a great question right now. Right now, I'm in deep in the work. Okay, we're doing the concept right now. So let's worry about the concepts, then we'll talk about that later. Okay. So now we are going to do one that, if you notice, they're different signs. If they're different signs, find the difference, right? Different signs, we're going to subtract. We're going to find the difference. First step, I got to see which one of these is bigger without the negative. So is 1 1/6 bigger or is 1 7/8 bigger? What do you think? I think 1 7/8 is the bigger one, isn't it? But without the negative, I put that bigger one, 1 7/8 up top. Now the 1 1/6 I put underneath. Everyone see? I know that my answer is going to be negative. Can you just think for a second about why my answer is going to be negative here? Because the bigger one's negative, right? So the bigger one's negative, then your answer is negative. If the bigger one was positive, your answer would be positive. So I know my answer is going to be a negative here. Now I do the exact same thing of saying, well, I think I could say 6 times 8 is 48, but there's actually a smaller number that I could say 8, 16, 24, right? As I go through 8, 16, 24. Wait a minute. 6 times 4 is 24. So 24 becomes our common denominator. And now we say 8 times what got to 24? It's not 6, it's 3. So I multiply the numerator by 3. So I got 1 and 21 24ths. This, it's 6 times 4, so I multiply the top by 4. It's 1 and 4 24ths. Does everyone see how I did that? Patrick, are you locked in with this? Okay. So now I'm only doing this now. Okay. And I can even clean it up even more if it's like that. Okay. So now as I do this, I have 21 minus 4 is what? 17 over 24. 1 minus 1 is 0. So is my answer 17 over 24? Yeah, except it's a minus sign, right? So that's your answer for this. So let's go over what we did again. We put the bigger up top, right? Bigger up top. We then said, what sign is it going to be for an answer just by seeing which one is the bigger sign? And that will be the sign's answer. Then we subtracted. We had to get that common denominator. And then we subtract. And we don't forget that sign there, okay? So we're going to try some practice on this.